Hello everybody. Last time we did superheroes, we learned how to draw hands. And today we're going to learn how to draw feet. Now a lot of people, they kind of just draw feet in kindergarten by just drawing a stick as a leg and then a big giant ball for a foot. And that, that's actually where I want to start. The stick figure part. This is actually a really good way to start drawing a foot. Because if this circle here becomes our ankle, we can put another circle out here, and we can connect circles on the top, and then on the bottom we can do this little arch line right here, and then come up, make a heel by kind of just adding in a little bit of a curve right there, and turn it into kind of a little bit like the letter S. I don't want to come too much, I don't want to curve too much over this way. I actually want to straighten it up. So we're not adding winged heels here. I mean, we could if they're a superhero. Here we go. We'll just add a little wing there, just for the fun of it. All right. But then we're just going to curve as this goes up. And our foot starts really taking shape. We've got a little bit of kind of the muscles, and we can make some space for the muscles to get bigger, sort of like a giant big triangle coming up the top of our leg. It gets narrower right before it hits the bottom of the foot. And now let's go ahead and add some toes. Now, where the toes are sort of like fingers. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And we're just going to go in and add the shapes. Add a big toenail there. Some little toenails here. And most superheroes, you're not going to see their toes. Most superheroes do not go into action barefoot. I mean, even Superman wears boots. So, as much fun as toes are to draw, I'm going to erase those. Like, oh no, we did all that work on our toes. No worries. If you still plan on where the toes are, just kind of build the boot around the toes. And then, no, sadly, we're not going to see any cool toenails there, or gross toenails. Depends on how good of hygiene the person has. There we go. So now we have a generic foot. Now let's build a boot, something cool to go with our wings. All right, maybe add some padding here. And a little bit of a heel. Heel is kind of a straighter edge. And the padding kind of goes around and protects those toes. A little toe guard on our boot. Not a toga, a toe guard. Kind of erase that line. Let's build kind of a strap going across. Kind of a fancy metal strap. Maybe another one up here. And the more the boot goes away from the shape of the foot, the less it feels like a natural thing. It kind of feels more armored. This kind of looks a little bit like armor. And of course, since this is a boot, we're not going to see the heel as much, so maybe we're just going to go in, kind of erase some of that heel we put there. Add some decorations. Erase that foot line since it's being covered over by shoe. We still have the top of the foot coming out here. This boot's looking pretty cool, and we can put some like fancy looking buckles on it that don't really make sense but still imply that this boot is buckled, that these straps are connecting to something. And if we want to, we could put kind of a grid on there for some mesh. Have a nice little breathable boot. And also, you know, we can do some pretty cool design stuff here. Grids are really cool design elements. Just going across like this, adding some grid lines, add some cool texture to the boot. And let's go ahead and turn that wing that we added randomly into something a little bit more geometric, a little harder, sharper lines, a little bit of shading on top. And then, just because it's got wings on the boots, let's add some jets to it. A little shape here, and maybe a bit of a fuel tank. A little rocket nozzle. What's nice about rocket nozzles is they're just little triangles that we can add to anything we want there. Let's add some other little rocket nozzles coming off here, which kind of look like boot treads too. And now we can add some flames. And even add some rocket nozzles to our little wing. Lots of flames coming out. These boots are lit. Oh, bad jokes. Oh, man. A little shading here. Gonna shade kind of the sides of the boot, but leave the middle part a little bit lighter. Maybe add some shading here on the heel. Pretty dark shading. I'm gonna leave a little bit of white next to everything else so it doesn't just lose its shape. So I'm leaving some white right there. Now, just going to get out my pen, trace over the lines I really want to keep. Use this chance to clean up anything I think is a little silly or I don't want. Inking is a really cool stage. You get to add some fun details to it too. And there's our boot. We learned from drawing a foot. Notice I am changing some of the lines I drew before, and that's okay. First, I kind of thought about adding Bluetooth boots, but that just didn't work out. There we go. All right. So you're saying